Welcome to Perfect Health on Elastic FM with Elaine Godley, to Michaela, Wade and Steven from Family Law Assistance.
That's right.
Marvellous. Okay, so since we last spoke, lots of exciting things have happened. And for the listeners, if you just run through what it is that you do on a sort of a day-to-day basis to start with, and then we can go on to the exciting things that you've just set up.
Sure. So on a day-to-day basis, we're helping people who represent themselves in the family court, mainly the family court, although I do cover other areas of law. And we're helping them from start to finish, right from helping them with the paperwork, right through to attending court with them, helping them negotiate with the other side, barristers, etc., and helping them know what to say in front of a judge. And we do that for our sins up and down the country, from local courts right up to the Royal Courts of Justice.
Yeah, but we're based in Mid Wales, but I think last week we're in Birmingham, Bristol, Swansea, Haverfordwest on the bottom left hand of Wales, and then Lincoln. You come back from Lincoln yesterday, didn't you?
I did.
And you're in Birmingham as well, and you're in Birmingham again tomorrow.
I am. Yeah.
So we ping pong around the country.
We do.
Wow. So do you both travel together, or do you hold the base, Stephen, while Michaela's flouncing around?
Well, Carly does the majority of the hearings.
Yeah. But I drag him along.
I drag him along because I can work wherever, as long as I've got a Wi-Fi connection, a network connection. I can do everything I need to do. So I do that. I get to be the driver. I drop her outside the court, and I tend to be like the we call it facilities. I organise everything that happens in the background. But I do go to court. So I'm in court tomorrow helping a lady.
And, just to be clear, without Steven makes me look great, he does. He has he does everything that he would need to do in terms of the diary, in terms of, the structure, the infrastructure of our business. So, trust me, without him, it would really go belly up.
Well, I'm sure it's a great team effort, because without you, there wouldn't be a business. So the pair of you, obviously, are a great team. So the background to you getting together, I think, is an interesting story. So run us through how that happened.
Go on, you can.
Okay, well, I got into this line of work because I went through it myself. I represented myself in court regarding a case for my son, and my son was moved from Bedford, where we were living, in London, where his mother was, to Mid Wales. So I was doing online dating, and within a couple of weeks, of knowing I was moving to Wales, I started talking to ladies in Wales, and I met Michaela online, and I moved to Wales, and I met her within 2 weeks of moving to Wales, and that was it. Even better, because I was running my own case, and she was a qualified paralegal, so it was a girlfriend and legal advice as well.
Yeah,
perfect.
I was already a qualified paralegal, and I'd already been working God knows how many years in civil litigation. Back in the day, I was sort of a debt collector. I was a benefit review officer. I was the person that nobody wanted to see. So, I'd say a match made in heaven, really.
Amazing. And what led you to the name Family Law Assistance?
I think it's just the Ron seal of what we do, really.
Maybe we're just not that imaginative.
Yeah, exactly. It's just Family Law Assistance. I wanted people to be very clear about what we did. So hence the name.
Yeah, which is excellent, because so many people, they come up with all these fancy brands, don't they, and a fancy logo, and you think, well, what the hell do they do? Do they sell shampoo? Do they, are they a law firm? What the hell do people do? So that's great. So you're also a qualified coach, Michaela. So tell us how your coaching experience and tools and techniques come into helping you with your family law assistance work.
Well, for a start, in terms of negotiation, I'm using those tools on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, you didn't realise that. You didn't realise you were using the tools, actually, even until you did the course, you were using half of them.
So I deal with that on a day-to-day. So I'm constantly persuading, selling, talking to the clients, reducing their anxiety, helping with their nerves before they go into courtroom. And I deal with, the area of work that we deal with is highly volatile, and I've always worked in highly emotional and highly volatile scenarios, so I've always had those tools in my box when it's come to persuading and getting rid of some of those negative emotions, guilt, anger, sadness, etc. Now I'm even better at doing it, even more so.
And clearly, by looking at the pair of you, you're very relaxed, very calm, but it's also very passionate people about your topic. So it's lovely that you can do something on a day-to-day basis that you enjoy, that makes a difference. And I know you've got lots of interesting case studies and success stories. So tell the listeners about some of your success stories, how you've been able to help versus had they gone to a solicitor.
Okay, well, I think a really good extreme example was I think a few months back we live up in the Brecon Beacons or in Mid Wales. So there we were having dinner one night, and we got a phone call from someone saying, "Help! My ex is said she's moving to Canada with my son next week.
Gosh.
What can I do about it?" So the next morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, I was standing on the steps of the Royal Courts of Justice on the Strand in London. And we went and saw a High Court judge, and we got the order to stop that happening.
Wow, gracious me.
And that happens more often than you might think. I mean, something that I do is I deal with both public law and private law. So there are cases where I'm assisting with local authority, sort of the harder cases, sort of like adoption, special guardianship, foster, that sort of thing, where people's children are being taken away from them, for example, by the state.
Okay, so that's what you class as public law.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to clarify the difference, private law is where mum and dad, they're arguing over the quantum of time that a child sees both parents, whereas public law, you've got social services, for example, taking children off families, the stuff you kind of see in the media. So you're right, it's highly volatile, and the success stories that we've had is, it's been a real, an emotional roller coaster, because you see people, the best and worst of people, naturally.
So is it possible to have a friendly arrangement set up? Because so often we hear of people arguing and bickering over these things, as you've said. So how often do you get happy outcomes?
Do you know? I think this is the thing. Obviously, we get to see the people who haven't come to an arrangement, so we can see a biased sample anyway. But I know there was, I think, a few months back when Michaela had a case where she helped her dad, and mum didn't have a solicitor, and you managed to negotiate an agreement between the parents in court, and you even got an email after mum afterwards saying, "Thank you for really helping out. I know my ex-husband was paying you and you were helping him, but it helped out me, and I was really nervous, and we've actually come to an agreement, and I'm really, really happy with it."
Yeah.
Excellent. That's lovely, isn't it? That's really nice.
And even yesterday when I was in Lincoln, I managed to get agreement between both parties. It wasn't, people weren't chucking stuff at each other. It was pretty amicable, really. So yeah.
Brilliant, excellent. Tell us about your courses, because I understand you've created 2 courses as a result of the demand, really, for what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited about this course. So on the day-to-day, I deal, as you know, with a lot of negative emotions. I deal with a lot of anxiety, people who feel quite frail. And on the day-to-day, I'm helping people through the emotional side of the court process. So I thought, why not combine my skills? And I've set up a course called Live, Thrive and Survive in Family Court, and that is going to be held on the 13th of October in Newport. And then a week later, I'm, for my sins,
you're in Wolverhampton.
I'm in Wolverhampton, and I'm running a course, collabing with another coach, and we are doing a course called Step Into Your Power. And this course is aimed specifically at women who have been through or are going through domestic abuse. So why would you need that kind of course when you've got agencies and charities like Women's Aid, you might ask? Well, one thing I've noticed is that dealing with the charities, and God knows they are a real saviour, But one thing I have noticed is that a lot of the programs tend to be either slightly outdated or mainly focusing on the abuser. So he's done this and he's done that, and how to cope with the abuser. What I wanted to do is to put those women in the driving seat. And one of the things actually that I deal with a lot on a day-to-day is really successful business women. You wouldn't think to look at them that they're in such an abusive relationship, and I'm talking, you know, either emotional, physical or coercive control. You would never think that they were in that relationship, and often they have to oscillate and juggle, working out how to put their career first and jostle how to work out family life at home.
Well, I would, because you're looking and talking to one who's been through that experience in the past, so I do understand that exactly. And it's a question of shame, embarrassment, guilt, the whole bit, you know, all of that together. And in my case, I'm going back many years now, but it took me 4 years to escape, as it were, from when I decided that enough was enough to actually going. And it ended up in a very serious court situation in the end. But I won't go into the details about that now. But yes, I do understand that, and there is a real need for your course. So that's fascinating that you've chosen to do that, and using your coaching skills and combining that with your legal expertise. I mean, that's fantastic, and I predict that's going to be really big for you, both of those courses. Definitely.
Thank you. I'm hoping so. I mean, like I said, helping these women. And like I said, you know, these women like you, they're business women, they're trying to work out their priorities. And like I said, it's getting rid of those negative emotions. Like you hit the nail on the head. It's guilt, anger, sadness. Let's get rid of all of that, and I want to put people in the driving seat. So rather than, what I find is that people tend to run unhealthy strategies, so they end up, it becomes a bit of a vicious cycle that takes forever to get out of. I mean, it took you 4 years. This is quick.
Yeah, I'm a strong person, and it took me 4 years, and nobody knew what was happening indoors until it got to a point which was really serious. However, it has to come from within, doesn't it? It has to come from the individual person. And so often I know that people get abusers get taken to court. Then the victim says, "Oh, but I love him really, and he's going to make it all right again." And you know, this goes on and on, doesn't it? The cycle. It's very difficult to break out of. But yeah, absolutely fantastic course. So do send a link to me for that, and then we'll put that on the Facebook thingamy. So I've got a Facebook page, Perfect Health on Elastic FM with Elaine Godley. So find that page and put the links to both of your courses on there. And what I'll do, because the courses are coming up shortly, we'll arrange to air this next week on my show. So we'll do this interview next week on my show. So it's next Tuesday. So 4 till 6 p.m. On Elastic FM, we will air this interview. I think the line is frozen. There we go. You're back again. Okay. So that's that. And your sense of humour prevails at all times. And the 2 songs that you've chosen, I ask most of my guests when I remember to name 2 songs. And yours are Tammy Wynette, Divorce, Divorce, and Elvis Presley, Heartbreak Hotel.
Yeah.
So it seems obvious, but is there anything particular that you want to say about either of those songs?
Do you know what? The Tammy Wynette one, yeah. So before I ever heard that song, I was a big fan of Billy Connolly. And there's a comedy version of it, which is probably a little bit ruder. Yeah. And I don't know, I think both that and the Tammy Wynette version, they've both got their merits. And you know what? Even in the darkest days, you know, it's amazing how much humour there is with this sort of stuff. I mean, obviously, we have to be very, very serious, but you get the humour coming through with our clients when the clients laugh about things that are ridiculous, sometimes appalling, you know, because I guess it's an emotional release. And the same thing happens in court with judges. The judges, I often think that courtrooms are perfect arenas for comedies because some of that happen in there. So, yeah, humour is a big part of it, because sometimes, as the old saying goes, if you don't laugh, you're going to cry.
Absolutely, yeah, and I have the same in the cancer world as well. As you probably know, I mentor people through cancer, and the same thing. I went to an event recently, and two friends did a beautiful sketch on cancer comedy, and it's, I mean, we're all in stitches about it, and it's the silly things that people say to us, or things that they do, or things that they assume, so it's the same. Whatever arena you're in, there is an air of comedy that has to prevail.
It always helps in just about any situation. I imagine cancer's the same. Sometimes, humour and laughter, it gives you for a little while, it takes you away from it, and you can feel, well, not better, but you've moved on for a little while, and it's the same thing.
Yeah, and there some people now do laughter yoga, and laughter is actually a form of medicine, because it increases all the happy
Definitely
vibes in your body, and so on and so forth. So we will be playing those records immediately after this interview for you.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much for spending time with us. So that's Michaela and Steven from Family Law Assistance. And how do people find you?
Okay, well, they can find us on our website, which is www.familylawAssistance.co.uk. They can find us on Facebook. If they Google us, they'll find us. Well, I should hope so, because we do a lot of social media. And you can reach us. You can, we've got an office of PAs to phone us, and you can book meetings for us online. And
what's our number?
Our number 0117 290 0274.
See, I wouldn't remember that.
and what's that again?
Go on, Michaela.
No, I don't know.
0117 290 0274.
Fabulous. Thank you very much. And here are your two records. Thank you very much, Steve and Michaela.